Hey everybody, it's Chief Gen X again. I got a sea story today that will probably raise some eyebrows. Um, some of you old sailors that around might get a good chuckle out of this one. I named it a little off the tip of the nose, please. Y'all understand? You'll know exactly what I'm talking about here later on. All right, let me set this up for you. On the second ship, USS Boxer. We're going through sea trials, getting ready to go in for our second deployment. We go through this thing we call refresher training, whatever they call it nowadays, I don't care. You go through these battle tests, firefighting drills, general corps, battle station drills, and things of that nature to test the crew to make sure that we're all ready to go for this deployment. We're going to go 6 months. We've got to go out there and see what's going on. We've got to understand, take care of ourselves. A lot of it's about, damage control, combating fires, and things of that nature. Damage to the ship, and what happens if you, get damaged, get fired, and anything else like that. So we go through these drills, and we go through these drills, and we go through these drills, and we go through these drills so many times that it's really hard for a young sailor to keep motivated. Being a young one, when I go through these drills, I knew it was like, oh my God, we gotta do these again. Jesus, I hated it. I dreaded it. Well, further along I got, and more what chain commando got, I kind of understood why. You come back, you sit back and look at it. Things need to gel doing time and time again. You have people leaving and people coming, so you need to keep practicing. New guy comes in, got to make sure he fits in the right place. One leaves, how much experience did he leave with him? That things of that nature. It all ties into the deployment, okay? And we need to do, need to keep training on this. And I was part of what we call the training team called the damage control training team, where we would assess ourselves. We would basically look at the firefighting teams and see how good they were, where they needed to improve, where they could tighten up a little bit, where they're doing great at. Only talk about it all the time. You tell them, hey, you're doing great with this part. We need to tighten this up a little bit. Boom, boom, boom. I'm good to go. Okay. You also got an idea of what, when you went out there, see who knew what they're talking about and who knew what they're doing and who didn't have a clue. So the clueless ones, we kind of tied them in with the ones who knew what was going on, get them up to snuff, make sure everybody had at least have basic minimum, basic knowledge of what's going on. Hopefully a little more advanced, and we can get on with this deployment. Well, I think we're in the third leg of 4-leg training, and the firefighting drills are getting a little more intense. It's all replicated, you gotta simulate this, simulate that. We had some really cool simulators. The smoke makers were awesome. They were great for doing smoke-filled spaces or fires or something like that. Those things were a blast. So you got real creative. You get real creative from these things. Without actually setting a fire to something, you get real creative on it. And people, it's a simulation where it's like, oh, this is pretty cool. This is dang near almost like it, except for the heat. The heat was one thing we really couldn't, you couldn't simulate. You couldn't get to that point. You had to simulate that. But everything else we pretty much did a pretty good job with. So we have these drills, and my boss, the Master Chief Master Arms, he's top dog of the Master Arms office. He's one of the firefighting, shooting damage control team trainers. Been around for 25, 26 years plus. The man's been around here, been there, done that, seen it all, and probably was sitting with Noah when he built the freaking ark. All right. We used to dog him out about that. We'd ask him how it was serving with Noah. So the man knew his kind of stuff around, and the particular firefighting area that he was responsible for was the one we're going to talk about today. This area, or this group, I should say, we call it repair locker. This repair locker was responsible for one of the aft portions of one of our main machinery rooms. their area responsibility was going down there and make sure the aft area, the forward I think it's forward machinery room was, fires were either out or under control or getting soon to be out. Damage was repaired to the best of ability. That type of nature. Simulation of this stuff. Well, fire drill went down. You hear the alarms. Ding, 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 ding. This is a drill. Boom, boom, boom. Say their little thing. We go about our thing. We're underway. They want to simulate and go to general quarters. Okay, we'll go to general quarters. Everybody's got to man their battle stations. And then repair lockers. So firefighting training team, we go out. Damage control team, training team, we go out and we get our space. We're there about 5 or 10 minutes before the drill even starts, because we get this brief on the drill, what we're going to be doing, where we're going to be doing it, how it's going to, it's just pretty much a step-by-step guide of what's going on with the day's drill. And it's a big one. It lasts about 2 or 3 hours. This one was going to last about 3 hours. It was going to. Keywords here was. Remember this. So we get into it. General quarters goes down. We're getting their gear set up. The guys are doing great. My guys are up. I'm all the way up forward to the ship. My guys are knocking it out, doing great. They're going through their equipment. They're doing inventory their equipment real quick. They're getting their ensembles on. They're getting their breathing apparatuses on. Firefighting on oxygen breathing apparatuses. Old school, breathing apparatuses before we turn over to Scott's, the SCBA's. So everything's going great with those. We're getting our firefighting gear on. Everybody's doing great. And we were all listening up, some chatter here and there, but everybody's kind of low on chatter. You wanted to hear where the drill was going to be yet today. Kind of give them an idea of how intense they had to be in their training. My guys' area. My guys' area wasn't going to be that much. It was going to be a smoke filled space, and that was it. That was from, it's supposed to simulate from someone from another space. See if they picked up on that. So, and I remember this because it was so freaking hilarious. So my guys are all dressed up. Me and my buddy Dave were up here. Okay, cool, boom, boom, we're good. I look at Dave. Dave's like, me, that sounds pretty good. We're about 45 minutes into it. My guys are going around. I got my guys on the port side. He's got his guys on the starboard side. We're going through the spaces and inspecting spaces, and we're searching, make sure we get nobody's left behind or anything like that. You never know what kind of twist someone's going to throw in the middle of the drill, especially when it was performed by the guys that were from the shore duty guys, the gurus of the fire, of the damage control people, and the ones that actually evaluated your test to make sure yes, you're going on deployment, or no, you're going to sit by the pier side a little bit longer and wait. And that latter part was not what you wanted to do. No CEO in the world ever wanted to hear that crap, because it was God help the rest of us. But so we're going through there. The guys are taking their time. I'll make sure make sure you look for what you're doing. Just giving that those subtle reminders. I never give the drill away. They got pissed. They're coming to do it too. They wouldn't do it. But about 45 minutes into it, I hear a buzz over the radio. The training teams, we always had a radio with us, and I get a little buzz over the radio, and I'm hearing something, but I can't really make it out. The bulkheads are all steel or aluminum, and you can't hear, the sound waves bounce off there. You can't hear nothing hardly. I hear a lot of garble. That's about it. And then maybe another 20 minutes goes by. I hear my buddy Dave. He's like, "Hey, did you hear that?" I said, "No, I didn't hear it." He goes, "What's up?" I said, "What's going on?" He said, "It sounds like somebody got hurt." Damn. That's the last thing you want to do is get somebody get hurt. You have to go down the dock or anything, something like that. The drills are not meant to get somebody hurt. They're meant to walk through them to make people, visualize and get an idea. Putting their head on a swivel, things of that nature. Nobody's supposed to get hurt into them. But somehow somebody got hurt. What could hurt? All right. 10 minutes later, you hear this: "Stop the problem, stop the drill." That is, folks, those words again: stop the problem, stop the drill. All team members, they said, all team members return to your repair lockers. And I'm like, I'm looking at something. What the hell is going on? Now I'm intrigued. I'm like, what really happened there? Of course, I said this to my mind. He's like, "Yeah, buddy, I'm gonna hear this." So I squawk at Dave. I said, "Did you hear anything?" He goes, "Yeah, I'll tell you when we get over there." I said, "Okay." He goes, "It's not everything, but I know it's something." Okay. So my team, we come back in here. We got everybody's done here. Everybody wants to know what's going on. First report I got is somebody stabbed themselves with a pair of scissors on accident. I'm like, how the hell? My first question is why do you have a pair of scissors with you? So then we get this. We start getting more and more, the squawking, and so we're trying to piece this together. In a couple of minutes, piecing this together. Then a couple of minutes later, you hear this medical emergency. Path to sick bay will be to this, and it was pretty much a direct route from wherever that person was to sick bay to go up to the sick bay. Normally they come down, but this one was, if you were walking casually, you could walk up to them. So they walked them up. And again, we didn't know exactly what happened. We're just like trying to piece things together. So we're trying to figure out what the hell is really going on here. This individual gets up there, the medical, and our doc, our senior medical officer, over the radio goes, and I quote, "This fucking moron cut the end of his nose off." I don't believe it. This fucking moron cut the end of his nose off. Captain, are you fucking serious? There was about a 4.5 minute pause on the radio. Nobody said shit. I'm thinking, my statistical mind's thinking everybody's cracking up laughing so hard they can't blue because they can't hear, they can't speak. And because I was one of them, myself, my buddy Dave, we were both laughing so hard we can't see straight. Our whole repair locker, they heard it over our radios. They're laughing their asses off. They're like, who the hell did this? Well, as rumors go around, stopping the problem, then we can, restore all gear in the drill, right? Training team members muster in the wardroom or wherever the hell we get it. They go through this process. Okay, so when we go muster for the debrief, I'm looking at David, I'm thinking, this ought to be good. This has got to be something at least decent. The end of your nose off, and I'm thinking drastic, like he cut his whole nose off. And Dave's like, nah, it can't be that bad. I said, well, you never know. He's like, all right. So we go down there, and of course, all the way we're making jokes. Everybody settled in. CO comes in. He's pissed. He's half pissed and half laughing. You could tell. He didn't know whether to throw his coffee cup across the room or just keep from snorting it from laughing. My Master Chief Spring, was standing right next to the individual who did this. And when something like this happens, when you have an incident like that, something like this, you have what's called a safety gram. You have to go put out a safety gram. And it's a blast to all the entire Navy that, hey, we're morons. One of our sailors did this. You never ever want to do that. But you had to. We had to. We had to send out a safety gram stating that one of our airmen, E2s, cut 3/16 to a quarter of an inch of his nose off his face. Why? Good question. Here's why. He wanted to save his sucker. Let that sink in for a little bit. He wanted to save his sucker. So here it was. He has sucker in mouth. Master Chief says, you can't have that sucker in your mouth when you got your OBA on. You ain't going to be able to fit it on there. E2 says to Master Chief, oh, no problem, Master Chief. I can take care of that. Has a pair of scissors in hand. Does not show a pair of scissors to Master Chief. Goes around behind bulkhead and proceeds to snip the end of his handle of his sucker off. In his statement, this is what he said. He wanted to snip the end of his handle off his sucker while it's in his mouth. Again, let me sink that in. Let me say that again. While it's in his mouth. Hence, 3/16 to a quarter of an inch of his nose comes off. Now, moron, one each. Doesn't realize this until he looks on the ground and notices that chunk of skin and flesh came off of his nose, because when he did that, the nose started bleeding profusely. You bleed really easily on your face, and if you haven't figured it out, you do this. Your face bleeds really easily. You could just get a minor cut and you bleed like crazy. Well, he's bled like a stuck pig. He made a trail to Master Chief, and he's holding his hand. He's holding it like this, and he goes, "Master Chief, I need to go to medical." Just as calmly as so Master Chief's like, "What the hell do you mean you gotta go to medical?" He removes his hand. Blood pours from his hand. My Master Chief looks at him and smiles. "You're a fucking idiot." Because Master Chief put two and two together and realized what dumb shit did. Because his stick is shorter, his nose is, and section of his nose is missing, and he's bleeding like a stuck pig. He says, "You're a fucking idiot. Where's your nose?" He goes, "I have the tip of it in my hand." Off they go. Well, if you're really wondering, yes, tip was was sewn back on to the actual other part of the nose. After they calmed the senior medical officer down, because he was pissed. He didn't want to do it. There was rumor flying around. He didn't want to do it. He showed that son of a bitch a lesson. I'll teach him. I'll leave it off. He had to be convinced, basically, to those sew dumb shit's nose back on his face. This individual not only made it to the safety bulletin that blast throughout the United States Navy, all over the world, not just the continental United States, but all over the world. Wherever there's a sailor in the world, there's going to be a safety gram being sent out with dumbass and boxer associated together. Okay, so again, like I said, no CO in their right mind ever wants to be associated with a safety gram. My CO didn't want to be associated with a safety gram, especially when dumbass got the end of his nose cut off, because he did it himself. No one helped him. No one did it. He did. Boop, on the floor. There it is. Yeah. Along with the safety gram, the people who run the safety grams and the operations, the safety operations for Big Navy, also have what they call a Darwin Award. Okay. Now, it's what you probably think it is. Yeah. It's for the dumbasses who probably almost killed themselves or damn near killed themselves, or was so stupid in what they did, probably don't deserve to breathe some air anytime soon. Guess what? E2 dumb shit hit the top of the Darwin Awards that month also. The boxer was so proud. Not. So, there you have it. One of our junior sailors, during the third leg of our firefighting tests, our battle ready tests, one of the tests that would make sure we were ready to rock and roll for getting underway or not, getting ready to go to war if we have to, we have an E2 that decides he's going to cut the end of his sucker stem off and his nose at the same time. Now, granted, he didn't mean to cut the end of his nose off. Obviously not. However, dumb shit snipped it. Because dumb shit didn't take the sucker out of his mouth. Do it right. Yeah. Well, that's why I said, little off the tip of the nose, please. Hey, y'all know me. I'm Chief Gen X. Please, if you like the story, please hit the like button, hit the share button, hit that subscribe button. Send it to your buddies, send it to your sailors, the other sailor buddies, send it to your Marine buddies. They'll know it, they'll love it. All right. Send it to your Army buddies. Say, hey, you know what? You guys ain't the only ones who got some stupid shits around here. Sailors got them too. We don't like to admit it. We got them. All right. So y'all have a blessed day, and this is Chief Gen X, and I'm out.